Well, hello there, everybody. This is the Comedy Thief, and guess what? You're watching
Funny old guys. That's us.
Flail Away. That's right. We go from tiny to huge, and that has something to do with my
Whoa.
diet, but that's another story. So, this is a joke-a-thon. You've been with us before. You know how hilariously funny we are. But before we start, I'd like to introduce Dr. Fat Packer, the famed surgeon.
Well, guten Tag, everybody. Nice to have you join us today. You're going to have so much fun. We do, so you might as well have fun too. Yeah.
And below me, we have a perennial favorite, whatever that means. He sniffs perennials. But this is Homeless Charlie, everybody. Say hello there, buddy.
Well, hey, and I just wanted to remark I wore my Bahamas hat because when I was married I had money. But
That's
that
a
ended
joke
a while ago.
That's a joke by itself, right? But anyway, so are you a Bahama Papa?
Well, I like the Bahamas, yes. I'll tell you, they're really, really beautiful. And unfortunately, I can't afford to live there unless I just go down there and sleep under a tree.
Oh,
When you go down there, do you wear a Speedo or a bikini?
Well, I don't wear anything, tell you the truth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, of course, I've been banned from most of the beaches
Well, I'll
down there.
bet you have, right too.
But who cares? You get nice suntan, and
yeah,
the
all
water's
over.
nice.
Well, down there, they asked Charlie if about his seersucker suit, and he said, "I'm naked." Let's start jokes. Joke time. Go ahead there, buddy.
Well, I have some things to ponder on. These are imponderables. So, like number one, I have three of these. Number one is making a smoking section in a restaurant like making a peeing section in a swimming pool.
Well,
Doesn't
I,
make any difference, does it? If 4 out of 5 people suffer from diarrhea, does that mean that one actually enjoys it?
I never thought of that.
No.
Ponder.
Finally, why, if you send something by road, it's called a shipment, but when you send it by sea, it's called cargo.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Not at all.
I'm puzzled and alarmed all at the same time. Homeless Charlie, tell us a joke.
Well, I just realized, well, actually, I realized years ago, dogs are not the only animal that you can train. I had a goldfish that could break dance on the carpet, but only for like 20 seconds.
Speaking of smoking, Dr. Fatpacker,
Yeah.
I went into a restaurant. Well, it was a business. I'm not sure exactly. They had some food, but anyway, they had a no smoking section, and I went in there. But what I realized was it had nothing to do with cigars. It was sex, and there's no sex allowed in the no smoking section.
Woo.
Okay, what the hell? You can't win them all. Dr. Fatpacker.
Now look at it. As long as you're on the restaurant thing, this
Yeah.
this man stopped at a fancy restaurant by himself for dinner and was very demanding of his waitress and left 3 pennies on the table for her tip. Well, I mean, she chased him down as he was leaving. She goes, sir, wait. Did you know I can tell a lot about you by your tip? And so he was a little intrigued and he says, well, do tell. She goes, well, from this first penny, I can tell you are a frugal man. Oh, and he goes, yes, I am very careful with my money. Please tell me some more. And she goes, well, and the second penny tells me that you are not married. Oh, and the man goes, yeah, I have never been married. I can't believe you know all this. Please tell me more. And she goes, and from this penny, I can tell your father never married either. And then she walked.
Hey. That's a thinking man's joke there. Yeah, but even I Old and feeble as I am, I got it. Almost Charlie.
Well, I'll tell you what, the other day I was really surprised. I met my son on the sidewalk and he says, you know, Dad, I got a part in the school play. A play who's I play a man who's been married for 25 years.
Wow.
And I said, well, tell you what, son, maybe next time you'll get a speaking part.
Oh, well, folks, you can see I'm wearing my Superman shirt. I was going to say shorts, but that didn't make any sense at all. So anyway, I'm actually the great grandfather of Superman, right? And
Ooh.
I'm having a terrible time trying to find telephone booths. They just don't make them anymore, right?
Oh,
No.
Last week I had this horrible accident where I thought I had found a telephone booth, but it was actually an outhouse. I want to tell you, it was a huge sloppy error on my part. Boom.
Wow, real stinker, huh?
A real
you gotta
stink.
find,
Yeah.
gotta find an Amish community.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, do you know the Sir Bernard Shaw? Do you know him? Sir,
Not
I'm not.
personally.
No, but he was known for his humor and his presence of mind. So one of the things that happened to show how witty he is,
Yeah.
once while walking down the street, he saw this gorgeous lady, and he came by her and it said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know you, but you are one of the most gorgeous ladies I have seen."
Great line.
And she replied, taunting him, saying, "Oh, I am sorry that I can't say the same for you." And he quickly turned to her and he says, "Well, then lie like I did."
Oh, that was painful. Woo!
Oh,
Almost Charlie.
Well, the other day I was told that after a vasectomy, I wouldn't have kids anymore. But when I got home, they were still there.
oh,
So confusing, so confusing. Well, going back in my history, I was a lot younger then, but I decided to get a vasectomy. Speaking of vasectomies, and I did a lot of research, right? And I was cost conscious, which was a stupid mistake on my part. So anyway, Sears Roebuck was having a special on vasectomies. All right, the price was right, but when we got all done, it was a complete failure, and I wasted my money. You know why?
no, pray
Why?
tell.
Because now every time I see a pretty girl, my garage door goes up. That's what
Oh,
it is. Yeah, yeah.
oh,
That's
well,
my packer.
I mentioned Sir Bernard Shaw, but also Winston Churchill was also known for being humorous and presence of mind.
Ah,
So Lady Astor once remarked to Winston Churchill at a dinner party, she says, "Winston, if you were my husband, I would poison your coffee."
oh,
And he looked at her immediately and he says, "Madam, if I was your husband, I would drink it."
that was painful. That was cruel.
Yeah.
Anyway, this George Bernard fellow, is he a dog lover or is he a dog? I don't know. Anyway, who cares? Almost Charlie, it's your turn.
Well, I'll tell you what, the other day I'm walking down the sidewalk
Yeah,
and I went past the Starbucks and I looked in and I saw a guy.
yeah,
He had no iPhone,
yeah.
no tablet, no laptop. He just sat there drinking coffee like a psychopath.
Very strange. I mean, he's a crazy, crazy.
How could he get away with that?
Yes. Anyway, I was at my psychiatrist's office. I've got, a few mental problems. But anyway, I was waiting to see the psychiatrist, and this guy walks in wearing nothing but a cellophane suit, right?
Whoa.
Cellophane what?
A cellophane suit. So anyway, the psychiatrist says, "How can I help you?" He says, "I'm having some mental issues. There's something really terribly wrong. I can't sleep at night. What do you think the issue is?" And the psychiatrist says, "I'm not sure, but I can clearly see you're nuts." That's what what time is it?
Oh, well, we'll go into a nun joke. How's that?
Okay, this is the last one.
Oh, this is the last one? Oh, good. This is the last one on my page. I can throw this sheet away. Okay, so this nun is walking down the corridor. Another nun passes her by and says, "Oh, who got out on the wrong side of the bed today?" She just kind of stared at her. Then a second nun passed and said, "Oh, who got out on the wrong side of the bed today?"
Hmm.
She stares and kept walking. And a third nun passes, says the same way. So finally, the Mother Superior is approaching, and clearly she's going to say something. And the nun says, "Look, don't say it. Don't ask who got out of the wrong side of the bed today." And then the Mother Superior says, "Well, I wasn't going to. I was just going to ask why you're wearing the bishop's slippers."
Oh, ah. Well, anyway, we're done, but we're not done, folks, because we have a point of conversation just between the three of us. Doctor, tell us what our point of conversation is going to be.
Well, it was interesting because I saw this movie on TV a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, oh, this might be a good question for people. Yeah. So let's say you're selected for jury duty.
Yes?
When you end up on a jury for a murder trial, right?
Uh,
You and your fellow jurors have been sequestered for 8 hours, and almost everyone has decided that the defendant is guilty, but you think that the defendant is innocent. So here, do you try to persuade everyone to your point of view,
hmm.
or do you just go along? I'm
Hmm.
thinking of like 12 Angry Men, you know? How about you, homeless Charlie? What would you do in that situation?
Well, first of all, 8 hours in a room with strangers is way too long.
Yeah.
But if it was P. Diddy, I'd just go along with it.
So you'd convict him, right? And let him
Yeah, there
fry?
you go.
Let him fry?
Guilty. How about Comedy Thief? What would you do?
Well, I've always been a very simple man, a very indecisive person, you know. So what I would do, because I'm afraid of the other 11, I would say to them, "Oh my God, I'm just about to have a horrendous case of diarrhea," and I would run out of the room down the hall and try to take a crap in the public john there. That's what I would do.
That's
I
what
would
you
get out
would
of
do, right?
no
Oh
decision
my
making on
goodness.
my part at all. What would you
Well,
do?
well, I would, of course, say, hey, we're going to be stuck here a very long time if I don't change. I'm going to tell you what I'll do now. If all of you people, pitch in, and buy me a good dinner and perhaps a good room over at the motel, then perhaps I will change my mind and make sure that he's guilty too. Yeah. Might as well get something out of it. What are you doing? Licking the screen there?
I'm just a screen licker.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And that's what I would do.
Well,
Make it worth your while.
Yeah.
I like liquor. All right.
I'd blackmail them into doing something
You,
for me
I,
too.
do
I
you get paid? Do you get paid as a juror?
You get if you do it right, you get like a minimum payment, but if you fill out the form at work, they will pay you the difference between what you would get as a juror and what you would normally get.
Well, that's fascinating. We're done. We're out of here. We want to thank you
Oh,
for being a part of this. Oh, wait a minute. Gosh darn it.
right.
I forgot again. Doctor, we invite a very famous person to be on our very next video, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And I have just the guy for us. I played the part that he played when he did the movie Bye Bye Birdie, and I played his part on the stage. I'd
Wow.
like to invite Dick Van Dyke.
Dick.
Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, I thought it was Vic Van Dyke, but
Oh,
it's not.
no.
It's Dick Van Dyke. What do I know? I'm old. Anyway,
Richard.
Dick. We call him Richard for short, although he isn't. Oh, anyway, Dick Van Dyke, you're going to be on our very next Funny Old Guys video. You have to check in at funnyoldguys@gmail.com, Dick. And if you don't, within 24 hours, buddy, you're going to end up in the trash bin.
Is he still alive?
This is the
Yeah,
what?
he's 100 and
For
still
real?
dancing his fool off.
Well, there we go. So anyway, this is Comedy Thief reminding you we steal pretty much everything you saw and heard on the video today. Passing along to Dr. Fatpack here for his goodbye and his farewell.
Well, auf Wiedersehen, everybody. Nice that you joined us today. Say, listen, if if you want to do something nice for us, go to the bottom and subscribe. That would be very helpful. Also, suppose you want to tell your friends that I saw these funny old guys on the internet. They say, where can I find them? And you forget, we could solve that for you. Send us an email at funnyoldguys@gmail.com, and we'll send you some of these fancy dancy business cards. Oh, there it is. Oh, it has our YouTube address on there, and you go there. You can catch up with all 3 years of Funny Old Guys. It would be great fun.
Well, there you go. And what are you doing?
I don't know, but he's very happy about pointing down there.
I think he's testing his coffee to see if it's still warm.
Oh, that could be.
Anyway, Homeless Charlie, say goodbye and farewell to all the boys and girls in video land.
Well, goodbye and farewell to all the video fans in video land.
Boys and Girl Land.
Okay, everybody wave goodbye. Everybody wave goodbye. Wave goodbye, Charlie. We'll see you all down the road.